Já fazendo. We are live.
Okay. We need to record, and I need to be the... Eu preciso ser o anfitrião só para fazer a gravação aqui.
Ok.
Só transfere aqui. Bom dia a todos. Vou fazer uma apresentação rápida em português primeiro, por conta dessa nossa transmissão. Eu sou Bruno Barata, sócio do BCDM Advogados, e queria agradecer muito a presença de todos nesse primeiro webinar em comemoração à celebração de uma cooperação entre o BCDM Advogados e o P&Z, um dos maiores escritórios da China. E nós contamos hoje com um seletíssimo grupo de convidados, de speakers, brasileiros e chineses. Esse evento será transmitido em inglês por conta da facilidade dos idiomas, né? Nós temos aí 2 países participando. Queria agradecer também a LinkLei, na pessoa da Caroline, na pessoa do Robert também, por toda a organização e apoio nesse evento, sempre muito importante o apoio da LinkLei. A Carol vai falar um pouquinho sobre a LinkLei depois da nossa primeira palestrante. E agora eu passo para inglês para a gente poder dar continuidade. So, thank you so much, my friends from Brazil and from China. We have here today 4 guests, 4 speakers. So we have Zoraida Liang, that is a partner at P&Z. Gisela Gadelha, that is the legal director and chief compliance officer of the Federation of the Industries of Rio de Janeiro. We also have Liz Zhu, that is also a partner and deputy managing partner at P&Z, and also my very dear friend Eric Navarro, federal judge and doctor by the State University of Rio de Janeiro in collaboration with Harvard Law School, and also coordinator at the New Law Institute. So we have 4 amazing guests that are going to address very different topics for us, like how is the economy and the legal market in Brazil, also in China, how is the system of justice in Brazil, and also we're going to talk about intellectual property, especially the trademark in China. So that are all very good topics to all of us, and I'm sure that we will enjoy a lot and learn more from these speakers. So I would like to thank you again for your availability, and I will now pass to Zoraida to make her welcome remarks and to start her presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, Bruno, for the introduction and also for inviting us to attend this meaningful and also interesting webinar. So I will share the screen with you because I prepared the PPT. Okay. Sorry, things that I cannot share my PPT.
Let me just see here 1 second, please.
Okay. You need to make it available, Bruno, I think.
Yes. Let me just check here.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Okay, let me see. Wait a moment.
No problem. Take your time. It's okay.
So the topic I would talk about today is about the new foreign investment law of China. So the content of mine will be divided into 3 parts. The first one is the background of the enactment of the new law. And the second part will be the main changes of the new law in comparison with the previous laws. And also the last part will be the influence of the new foreign investment law to those foreign investors here in China. Okay, let me try again. Okay. There might be some problem with my PPT. Hello, Bruno. Maybe we can let another speaker choose to speak first, so I can adjust a little bit the PPT. so I can share
Okay.
later on.
No problem. Okay, so Gisela, could you start?
Sure, no problem.
Okay, all right.
Hi, good morning. I'm grateful for the invitation made by Bruno Barata and Zoraida. It's a pleasure to participate in this webinar with Lizu. I don't know if they said the right name, and Eric Navarro, a professional for whom I have enormous admiration. Well, as Bruno said, I work at the Federation of the State of Rio de Janeiro. It's a higher level union entity with 101 affiliated employers unions. Among its institutional objectives, it's up to Firjan to represent the interests of businessmen and to stimulate the socio-economic development of Rio de Janeiro. We have several units throughout the state, and we work in a partnership with 4 other institutions: SESI, SENAI, IEL, and SIGI. It's a kind of economic group. SESI was created to promote health, basic education, and leisure for industry workers. We are the largest private education network in our state. SENAI offers industrial learning to industry workers and has several laboratories focused on technological innovation. SIGI is an association formed by 3,000 companies. And IEL operates with a focus on executive education and integration between industry and universities. As an example, we offer courses focusing on the professions of the future to meet the demands of companies. And I, as well as my entire team, we provide support for these 5 institutions. In other words, I have 2 reasons to be optimistic about Rio de Janeiro. First of all, I'm from Rio, so as much as I have read, been to other beautiful places, Rio is special with this natural beauty. So it's impossible not to fall in love with Rio. Lizu told me that today is Valentine's Day in China, so we are talking about love. So if that were not enough, I work at an institution that constantly seeks to improve the business environment, proposing measures that increase the competitiveness of the industry and implementing actions for the well-being of its workers. Therefore, although Rio has its weaknesses like any other state, and we have been through a delicate moment after the pandemic, we remain optimistic and keep working hard for the recovery of the economy. And today, I come to highlight data that demonstrate that the state of Rio de Janeiro still has a strong economy. Well, Rio is the 3rd Brazilian state with the largest population, 8.5% of the country's population. The country's 2nd largest economy, 11% of Brazil's total GDP. The 1st oil and gas producer in the country. The 2nd Brazilian state with higher education. 7.2% of all Brazilians' companies are located in Rio de Janeiro. And Rio is the country's 2nd main gateway. Rio has 5 airports and 11 ports. And finally, the 2nd main international tourism destination. So this figure shows that despite the crisis, the economy is still strong and has the potential to resume economic growth. In addition, we believe that difficulties create opportunities to cohesion between private sectors, entities, and legislative and executive power in order to together build the basis for the resumption of economic competitiveness. Our studies have identified some opportunities here in Rio de Janeiro. 142 opportunities for concessions and public-private partnerships in the state of Rio, representing a potential investment of 54.8 billion reais. And such investment would generate a multiplier effect in the entire chain. Civil construction, services, transport, many others. New regulatory frameworks for oil, gas, and sanitation will also bring opportunities. At the federal level, the Brazilian government has been implementing structural reforms such as labor and social security reform, a new legal framework for sanitation, and now it seems that the tax reform will be approved. I hope so. A proposal to modernize the law and judicial reorganization and bankruptcy is also pending in the National Congress in view of the need to make these institutes more effective. The Brazilian technology and the communication market has been growing. The General Data Protection Law has contributed to companies investing in software and information security. In parallel, the Brazilian government, in partnership with the National Institute of Industrial Property, has been taking a series of measures to give greater speed to patent and trademark registrations. Brazil has recently joined the Madrid Protocol. These measures give greater legal certainty to companies that wish to invest in technology. This scenario provides excellent opportunities to investors in areas that have been of interest of China's investors. Over the past few years, China has been substantial contributions to projects in several countries, most of them in infrastructure, called the Belt and Road Initiative. In relation to our country, since 2017, Brazil has been the second largest destination for China's investment in infrastructure, after only United States. The Chinese have invested in public-private partnerships, such as Northeastern State of Bahia, and more recently have invested in the oil and gas sector, a consortium with Petrobras in the pre-salt auction, in addition to investments in technology companies, such as an acquisition for the ride-sharing 99 and the fintech Nubank. In the legal sphere, the scenario of public-private partnerships, company acquisitions, and concession contracts reinforce the importance of compliance as a competitive differential, especially if we take into account the sectors that have been focus of the investment made by the Chinese, infrastructure and oil and gas. Companies that have a well-structured integrity program and organization culture based on principles of corporate governance as justice, transparency, accountability, and compliance will have an advantage over the others. After all, it's customary to have due diligence both for hiring suppliers and also in corporate operations in order to mitigate risks of being held responsible for acts of corruption. In addition, many state governments like Rio de Janeiro have integrity programs and require their suppliers to have them as well. Finally, it's also important to note that in recent years, alternative methods of conflict resolutions have come to be widely used in Brazil, especially arbitration and dispute boards, bringing greater agility in events of disputes. Thinking about the importance of the alternative conflict resolution methods of the business for the business environment, in 2002, Firjan founded the Brazilian Mediation and Arbitration Center, and the number of arbitration has grown significantly in the recent years. The culture of mediation is still being consolidated in Brazil. There are several laws created with the support of members of the judiciary itself and encourage the use of mediation and the tendency is for entrepreneurs to adopt it more and more. Anyway, my goal today was to talk a little bit about Brazil, especially Rio de Janeiro. Firjan also has an international area with the objective of expanding brands abroad, favoring commercial partnerships, and contributing to the construction of optimistic environment for international business in the state of Rio de Janeiro. You can learn more about our work on our website. Thank you very much. We are at your disposal.
Thank you so much, Isela. It's always interesting learning from you and all the work that you and the Federation is doing here in the state of Rio. I am also from Rio, as everybody knows, and I'm one of the defenders of our state and how important it is to see our state getting better. It's important to all of us, and your work and the work of the Federation is so important to achieve this mission that we have. And now I will just transfer the word to Caroline, just for her to speak a little bit about LinkLei. Caroline is the founder of a legal tech in Brazil. It's called LinkLei. She will speak a little bit more about that. I don't know if in Portuguese or in English, but Caroline, feel free to present your legal tech, please. And then we are going to Zoraida again, if you're ready. Okay. Please, Caroline.
Hi, hello everyone. It will be in English. I would like to start my speech by thanking Bruno Barata for the opportunity to hold this webinar on our social network that the name is LinkLei. And I would like to invite everyone to be a LinkLei member. In addition to online events, our legal social network always encourages legal networking and has many relevant legal content and tools to develop and promote the legal career. And it's an immense honor to be participating in the conference that collaborate and share many opportunities within the industry. And this webinar is a proof of the impact technology and the internet has brought our lives, and I'm a big fan of this movement. Also, I would like to say, for you use this time to meet other participants and expand your network by using our legal social platform. I wish everyone a great webinar, and I thank you again, and it's a pleasure.
Okay, thank you so much, Caroline. It's a pleasure for us to have you here as well, and also for the support of LinkLei to the success of this webinar. And now, Zoraida, please, the floor is yours.
I will try again.
Okay.
Okay, let me check if I can do that. Yes, you can see the PPT, right?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, I will start strictly from the first part, the background of the new foreign investment law of China. Okay, before the enactment of the new foreign investment law of China, there were 3 laws related to the foreign investments. The first one, the Sino-Foreign Enterprise Joint Venture Law. The second one, Sino-Foreign Cooperative Enterprise Law. And also the last one is the Foreign Capital Enterprise Law. And after the enactment of the new law, so these 3 laws will have been invalid. So you may have a question. So there were 3 laws related to the foreign investments. So what is the reason for the enactment of the new foreign investment law? We have done a comparison with the new foreign investment law with the previous 3 laws. We found that actually the 3 previous laws require registration for projects and the constitution of foreign investment companies in advance in the Ministry of Commerce of China. But now, since in the enactment of the new foreign investment law, the foreign investors have no need to register in the Ministry of Commerce of China. They can take all the documents directly to the local commerce bureau of the place where they want to invest and to get the commercial license from the local commerce bureau directly. And also at the same time, the above 3 laws related to the foreign investment law do not clearly stipulate the protection of the IP and also the commercial secrets of the foreign investors. So since the enactment of the new law, the law will stipulate directly the protection of the IP and the commercial secrets of the foreign invested companies. Because in the beginning, some Western countries will say, okay, the Chinese government is not transparent to the world, so we will worry about the security of the IP and also the commercial secrets of our companies. But since now the government of China says that, okay, we will protect the IP and also the commercial secrets of the foreign investors. So when they come, they can find a law which can protect them well since the enactment of the new law. So the second part is about the main changes of the new law in comparison with the previous laws. Okay, we think the main changes are those new regulations appears in the new law. The first one is the national treatment and negative list. And the second one is the changes of the structure and administration of the company. The third one, the information report policy. And the fourth one, protection of IP and commercial secrets. And the last one is the national security review. We will take a look of the content one by one. So what is the so-called national treatment? The national treatment means that in the constitution or in the establishment or the expansion stage, for example, in the merger or acquisition of the foreign investment companies, those foreign invested companies can enjoy treatment no less than those domestic companies. I will give you an example. For example, before the enactment of the new foreign investment law, those foreign investment companies, they need to register in the Ministry of Commerce of China first. After they get the permission of the Ministry of Commerce of China, they can take those documents to the Commerce Bureau to get the commercial license. But since now, they have no need to go to the Minister of Commerce to get the permission of them. They can go directly, like those domestic companies of China, and get the commercial license directly from the local Commerce Bureau of China. So you may have a question. So if those foreign investment companies can do the same like those domestic companies, how Chinese government can control everything? So there is a negative list. The negative list refers to a summary of sectors that are not open or limited by the government. For example, if a sector or an industry which is not open to the foreign investors. So when the foreign investor take those documents to the Commerce Bureau to get the commercial license, the people of the Commerce Bureau will tell the foreign investors, so you just cannot invest in this area, so you need to change the business scope of your company, something like that. So the latest version of the negative list was published in June of this year. So you can find here those sectors which are limited or prohibited by the government of China has been deducted from 40 to 33, and also in some free trade zones has been deducted from 37 to 30. So now those foreign investors can have more options in comparison with previous years. And also, except the negative list and the national treatments, there are also some changes in the structure and operation rules of the foreign investment companies. So according to the new foreign investment law, the structure and operating rules of the foreign investment companies must follow the provisions of the corporation law and collective society law. It means that if you are a foreign investment company, if you want to find some laws here in China to follow, you go directly to the corporation law and collective society law. In that way, it can also reflect that the Chinese government are using a national treatment in those foreign investment companies, because those domestic companies are using the corporation law and collective society law. If those foreign investment companies are following these, it means they are treated equally like those domestic ones. Okay, let's see. Okay, we're talking about the structure and operation rules, but what are those main changes? The biggest change is the supreme organ of the company. According to the Sino-Foreign Enterprise Joint Venture Law, it means that the previous laws, and Sino-Foreign Cooperative Enterprise Law, also an old law. So the supreme organ of the company is the board of director or joint administration committee, depending on the article of association of the company. But after the enactment of the new foreign investment law, all those operating rules will follow the corporation law of China. And according to the corporation law of China, the supreme organ, in other words, is the organ who decides all those important issues of the company will be the board of shareholders. And you can see here, the board of directors will just report to the board of the shareholders. It means that board of shareholders will control everything. Okay, another change which is very noteworthy here in this new law is the resolution of the important issues. Important issues refers to, for example, the change of the article of association or the deduction or increase of the registered capital of the company, etc. So according to the previous laws, all those important issues of the companies need to be approved by the unanimous approval of the board of directors or the joint administration committee. But after the enactment of the new foreign investment law, all the rules will follow the corporation law of China. In other words, all those important issues will be approved by shareholders presenting more than 2/3 of the voting rights. So the way to make the resolution of the company is completely different from the previous laws. Okay, I will continue here. Yes. So another big change in new law is the equity transfer. Actually, in the previous laws, there is no clause talking about the equity transfer of those foreign investments companies. But since the enactment of the new foreign investment law, all those rules will follow the corporation law of China. According to the Article 71 of the China Corporation Law, all those shareholders of the company can have the freedom to transfer their share to other people or to other shareholders of the company. So, but if the shareholder who wants to transfer his equity to other person, the consent of more than half of the other shareholders must be obtained. But if more than half of the other shareholders do not agree with the transfer, but none of them would like to buy the share, the transfer will be considered approved. Yeah, that part is very reasonable, because if you do not agree with the transfer of my share, so you buy it. If you don't buy it, it means that you have to approve the transfer to other person instead of the shareholder of the company. So another very important new regulation appears in the new foreign investment law is the information reports policy. According to the Article 34 of the foreign investment law, the Chinese government establishes an information reporting system on foreign investment. Foreign investors have to report to the Commerce Bureau through the company registration system and the company credit system. Now, all those companies, both the domestic ones and the foreign investment companies, they will get into the system of the Commerce Bureau to report everything. For example, the financial situation of the company every year. They need to renew it every year, and the Commerce Bureau will spot check. They won't check it one by one, but sometimes they will spot check. Maybe today they want to check the information of company A. They will just gets the information and check if there is something illegal, is something like that. So it is something the company needs to do annually, but the Commerce Bureau will check just the spot check. It's not one by one. It's not mandatory to all the companies. Another very important regulations appears in the new law, just like I mentioned before. So the Chinese government stipulates in the law the protection of IP and commercial secrets of those foreign investment companies. And also when those foreign investors, they are using their IP or commercial secrets here in China. For example, they want to register a trademark in the Trademark Bureau of China, they need to present the trademark to the bureau. So sometimes some person of the bureau will have the access to the trademark. So in this law also stipulated that all those personnel of the agencies or departments of the governments need to keep all the information confidential while they are helping those foreign investors to handle those issues related to the IP and commercial secrets. In that way, if some foreign investors find that some people in the governments or some other third parties infringes their IP or commercial secrets, they can use this law to protect themselves. And also the last regulation that appears in the new law is the National Security Review. It is similar to the National Security Review of the United States, but there is actually no detailed enforcement regulations under these clause. So we can update it later on if there is some new information from the government. So the third part will be the influence of the new foreign investment law. We will talk about it from two sides. The first one is the positive influence of the new law. So after the enactment of the new foreign investment law, foreign investors can have more investment options and freedoms here in China. Like we mentioned before, there are less sectors in which those foreign investors can invest. So it means that those foreign investors can invest in more industries in comparison with the periods before. And also foreign investors will be protected here in China because according to the new foreign investment law, all those IPs and also the commercial secrets of the foreign investors will be protected. If there is any infringements, the court and also the government will use some legal issues to protect the foreign investors from the infringements. And also the procedure of the invest in China is more effective and faster in comparison with before, because now the foreign investors has no need to report and register in the Ministry of China, Ministry of Commerce of China. They can go directly to the local Commerce Bureau and to get the commercial license, just like those Chinese company do at the moment. And also there is a very important point we need to point it out. Since the enactment of the new foreign investment law, those foreign investors can be partners of Chinese individuals. Before the new law, just Chinese company can establish a joint venture company with those foreign investors. But since now on, Chinese individuals also have the rights to establish a joint venture company with those foreign investors. So it means that the foreign investors can have more options or partners also. And the negative parts, negative influence of the new law, the rights of the foreign investors in Sino-foreign joint venture, especially joint venture companies, may be affected because the supreme organ of the company has been changed. No longer the board of directors, it will be the board of shareholders. In the beginning, some foreign investors, they may be the small shareholder, but they will have more vote in the board of directors, but now the thing is changing now. So the foreign investor might need to negotiate with their Chinese partners to change the percentage of the share to get the rights to vote in the company. And also, if the negotiation cannot be reached the agreement, so the foreign investor might think about to transfer their equity to other person or other shareholders of the company also. The second negative influence we'll put here is the company must modify the article of association in the Commerce Bureau before January 1, 2025. Actually, after the enactment of the new foreign investment law, Chinese government gave 5 years of transactional periods for those foreign investors to make change of the article of association and the structure and also the operation rules of the company in order to make everything in accordance with the new law. So it is very important to make to notify those foreign investors to make the change before that date. If they do not make the change before that date, the Commerce Bureau won't accept any other issues, commercial issues, or commercial applications from that company. So that is very important. And I think that is my presentation since the time limitation, so we can share it later on more in details about it. Thank you very much, Bruno. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zoraida, for your fantastic overview about the Chinese ecosystem for foreign investments. And I was in China two times last year, and one of them, the first one, I was having dinner in Guangzhou with a lawyer, and he was explaining to me the Chinese development in the last 20 years. So how was the exponential growth of China? And also, it's also legal development as well. And as you brought for us, it's a huge changing in the legal system of China, and this is very interesting because each day more, each year more, the companies have more legal certainty. So it's very, very interesting and very, very good what you're doing in China. So thanks again for the presentation. And now, Liz, it's your time. The floor is yours, please.
Okay, guys. Thank you, guys. It's my pleasure to have this opportunity to be with you guys and Brazilian friends in this webinar. I'm Lacey. I'm partner at PNZ. I have been practicing IP area for more than 14 years. I've been told to talk about trademark protection in China. But intellectual property is a very big topic. In China, it covers patent, trademark, copyright, and anti-unfair competition, etc. Each of them has a lot of laws and regulations. Even we narrow it to trademark, it still is not easy to expand in a short time. Because we just have 10 minutes, so I would like to share a very short story, which is the case my team handled in recent year. This case is about a very slight aspect of Chinese trademark, which is very easy to ignore by foreign clients when they try to register a trademark in China. So about 1 year ago, one of my US clients planned to register their logo in China. They prepared very well, documents, pattern of the trademark. Even we helped them choose the goods and service in Chinese classification because Chinese classification is not exactly same as NIST classification. So everything was perfect, but one thing is wrong. So no one told them that there is a very special detail in China trademark law, which is submit a trademark application requires applicant's Chinese name. And this Chinese name will be printed on the certificate of the trademark. So we all know Chinese character is totally different from Latin or English or other languages in the world. So it is very hard to literally translate English name to Chinese. In addition, according to the corporate law, company name is deemed as a kind of intellectual property right. So, which means a foreign company cannot translate their name to Chinese randomly. So you cannot do it just randomly translate it. One improper company name might cause to not only indecent meaning, but also legal dispute. So during handling this case, our lawyers spent long time to help this client to choose a proper Chinese name. And this looks like not typically a legal service, but it's very special legal service in this area. So I want to say is when foreign company or foreign clients enter in China market, you will see not only the legal issue, not only the cultural gap, but also some very slight aspect will influence your company IP protection in China. So that's the first thing. The second thing I would like to talk about a little bit is about the jurisdiction of the trademark. Because since 21st century, China has been setting up three special intellectual property courts in 3 different cities. So those special IP courts have been conflicted with the current the intermediate court. So that creates a huge confusion to the foreign clients, foreign companies, not only foreign clients, but also the Chinese lawyers. Some of Chinese lawyers cannot figure it out. So the one trademark cases, which course we should choose. So that is the situation. I think the foreign lawyers and Chinese lawyer, we can work together to help the not only the Brazilian companies but also Chinese company to figure out those issues in China. So that's all. So thank you guys, and I'm very happy to share this beautiful night with you guys in our Chinese traditional Valentine's Day.
All right, Lizzie, thank you so much. Thank you for presentation, and congrats again, you, Zoraida, and all our Chinese friends for the Valentine. Very interesting to learn more about intellectual property scenario in China. I was last year visiting the intellectual property courts in Guangzhou. It was a very, very interesting visit, and to learn with some judges there that explained to us a little bit about the court. And speaking about court and judiciary, and last but not least, I now pass the word to my friend Eric Navarro to speak a little bit about the Brazilian judicial system. So Eric, please.
Thank you, Bruno. I'm gonna share my screen with you, so just a second, please. Okay. Are you seeing my PPT?
Very well.
Great. So just 1 second. Something's happening here. Okay. Okay. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to start by thanking Bruno Barata and all my Chinese colleagues for this invitation. And you who is watching us, thank you very, very much. Well, today we'll talk about the Brazilian system of justice, and I will try to prove why do we need a more interdisciplinary approach for the law, mainly use law and economic tools. Oh, just a second. My PPT is not working yet. I don't know why. Okay, great. So I'd like to start this talking saying about the current situation of law and economics in Brazil. Differently from the US, China, and other countries, in Brazil, law and economics is a very new field. It's being taught in no more than 25 or 30 law schools, which is a very small number since we have almost 1,000 law schools in Brazil. Yes, that's true. We have more than 1,000 law schools in Brazil. The first program was created in 2009, a law and economics program. This is the same year that the Brazilian Economic Analysis of Law Review was created. And since then, law and economics has been developed in Brazil with a strong support of the Brazilian Association of Law and Economics, which I had the honor to be the president during 2019 tenure. But why do we need law and economics in Brazil? One of the main reasons of that is our chaotic system of justice. And just to illustrate, the last report says that in 2018, more than 100 million lawsuits were in course through all our courts in Brazil, which means that every judge had to deal with almost 6,000 lawsuits on average. This is the biggest docket in the world, no doubt about it. There are several reasons for that, but the main one is the cost of litigation, which is not properly estimated in an optimal level to prevent frivolous suits and to promote settlements. By the way, the settlement rates in Brazil is only 11% on average and only 7.3% at the federal justice. Most of these lawsuits are very similar, and they could be combined by aggregation following their binding precedent and address it at the same time, with a huge economic of scale. This is precisely what legislators and judges are trying to do now. However, in order to establish binding precedents to solve this million of repetitive lawsuits, we need a Supreme Court willing to do it and with the resources to do it. Actually, the justices of the Supreme Court do have the will, but they are also overwhelmed. There were more than 1,000 new lawsuits at the Supreme Court just in 2018. Most of them are simple appeals, trivial civil and criminal cases with no reverberation on the entire system. In 2018, these 11 justices ruled more than 110,000 cases, which means that they ruled on average more than 10,000 each. So, at least for me, it's obvious that they don't have time to deeply access what really matters in order to establish good binding precedents, for example. But they are working hard and they are improving the court caseload, mainly through establishing critical precedents that are really changing our system of justice. Besides that, some important reforms are taking course, but there is a lot of criticism and opposition, especially by lawyers. I understand that more discussion is essential, but there is also a movement from some lawyers and some law professors. They are just, let's say, trying to keep their job markets. The so-called car wash operation, for example, and its prosecutors are under attack. Corruption cases are growing up again. Somehow, I think it's normal, since when you try to change the system, some kind of backlash is always expected. So, why do we need this interdisciplinary approach in Brazil? I think law and economics can help us to prove that a good system of justice is not one that everyone can use and abuse, one that everyone can sue for nothing. Everyone has the right to reach the Supreme Court, and every defendant has the right to be released until res judicata takes place. I think that law and economics can help us to change the law in order to create the right incentives to bring suits and settlement to an optimal level, which is not 100 million of lawsuits, of course. And actually, this is exactly what we are doing now. A task force is taking place at the National Council of Justice, writing a bill of law draft that aims to restructure the entire litigation cost system. And I am proud to be part of this group, and we hope to get our bill, our draft, approved by the National Congress by the end of the last year, luckily. And as a member of this group, I can tell you that law and economics is providing very useful tools of our task. And law and economics can also provide insights about biases that play a critical role in our courts today. Its interdisciplinary approach can help us to redesign the system in order to avoid unfair outcomes that result from them. The so-called behavioral law and economics is a field that provides very efficient tools to address these problems. And finally, we live in the tech revolution era. Economics, psychology, and neuroscience can help us to use technology in a proper way to reduce transaction costs and increase the efficiency of the system. For example, using these digital courts, such as Canada is doing and China is doing, for example. So in short, we can conclude saying that we need this new vision, new approach of law, at least new in Brazil, to prove that the current conception of justice for all, at the end of the day, provides actually justice for No one. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric. Very good presentation. I like it, the Metallica cover of the CD.
Yes, yes. I did for you. I did for you, Bruno.
All right. You know I'm a big fan. So thank you so much again. Thank you all of you. Question that I think it should be addressed by everyone. I think it's easier so everybody can answer if you want. So everybody spoke about dispute resolution. Everybody spoke, Eric spoke about online courts. So some of others spoke about technology. So we are now, everybody, not only Brazil and China, but all over the world, we are facing exponential transformation of our countries and of our system, ones and all others. So I'd like to ask to all of you about online dispute resolution. So not only mediation, but also arbitration. So we have online courts in China. This is starting a little bit in Brazil. So we have a hybrid system so far. So in your opinion, how the online dispute resolution system will help us to face this pandemic scenario, since we don't have vaccine and we are not expecting to have it at least by the end of the year. It's very difficult for us to know an exact time that we're going to have it. So here in Brazil, Zoraida and Lizzie, just for you to have an idea, almost all the courts are closed. They are open just for small things, but we have hearings and session courts that are being doing over the internet. So, and the lawyers, at least almost all of them, and I am one of them, is liking this kind of new thing. But for sure, this is every new thing demands changing of culture, a changing of mindset. So it's not easy at all to put everybody on the same page regarding this kind of transformation. So what do you think about online mediation and online arbitration in order to help the justice system and all this scenario of pandemic? So who wants to start? Eddie.
Well, first of all, I think, and I'm saying as a federal judge, that we are lucky in use technology during the pandemics. And luckily we have around 70% of our docket digitalized, which allow us to use technology to run the system. And only because of that, the judiciary is working hard and very well, even during the quarantine, right? And I also would like to say that there are other means to deliver justice. And there are other doors, such as mediation and arbitration. And I think the same difficulties that we are facing now into the judiciary system, arbitrators and mediators are facing in their jobs. And the solution, I think, is the same. It's the use of technology. And in this way, the online dispute resolution systems platforms, I think they are the key to start a process to make it different. I mean, to do a really innovation in the approach to face the conflicts and to try to find a common ground or a solution for a third party. So that would be my commentary.
It's interesting to mention that here at the Rio de Janeiro State Court, we have here, the judges have created a mediation online system just for bankruptcy cases, right? You know that
yes.
A lot for our friend Tadakuri is running this project, the judge for the higher court. And because Zoraida and Lizzie, we're having a lot of bankruptcy cases here in Brazil. Just for you to have an idea, only in the state of Rio de Janeiro, we had 1,000 restaurants closed. It's just a small number. from only one sector due to the pandemic. So yeah, now we're starting to grow. This is a complicated problem, but the thing is, we are afraid of having a lot of new cases at the courts. As Eric said, we have the largest backlog in the planet, so we don't need to increase more and more because of the pandemic, the number of lawsuits. So that's why they're creating an online mediation system only for bankruptcy cases. So this is one of the measures that we're adopting because of this new scenario that we're facing. So who else wants to answer? Maybe Zoraida,
comments,
please.
About it. Actually, now in China, some courts are using technology to help those lawyers and also the plaintiff and defendant to participate in the course in an easy way. For example, I don't have to travel to another province to attend the courts. So in that way, we can save the money of our clients. And also not only during this time, during the COVID 2019, I think Chinese courts will think about to use this kind of technology maybe after the pandemic. If two parts, I mean, both parties agree with this kind of way, so maybe the judge will hold the courts through the technology. And also it's a little bit incredible what Eric told us. There are lots of cases for those judges of Brazil, because I have some friends in Chinese courts. They told me every year we have to handle 300 cases, but in comparison with with the situation of Brazil, no, it's incredible. And they are busy already. And I just cannot imagine how busy you are. And after the pandemic, maybe you will be more busy, because there will be more and more cases and you cannot go to courts. And that would be a very difficult situation. And also, like my colleague Lisi said, that now in China, there are some special courts, IP courts, and maybe commercial issue courts. That could be a way to to make the work of the judges easier. And also the country can find some people of that specialty to be the judge of that specialty and can deal with those cases with more professionally, and not a judge handle all kind of cases. That could be a way, and that is also one thing those courts of China is trying to make change and to make some innovations at the moment. Thank you. That's my comments.
Thank you, Zoraida. How about you, Gisela? Gisela is also the vice president of legal at the Brazilian Center of Mediation and Arbitration, and I have the honor to be the vice president of foreign affairs as well. So, what do you think, Gisela, about this idea?
I think it's this platform is it's a reality even before the pandemic. Now, of course, the demand is increasing a lot. We have a friend, our vice president, Andrea Maia, our friend, and she invested before the pandemic. Now she always says that the demands it's huge. So that's why we're trying to start it in our center. I think it's a reality even after the pandemic. People now they are used to use these platforms. I remember that before the pandemic, nobody used to do this kind of meetings, and people used to travel to São Paulo to do meetings. Now we can do by a lot of platforms, and they are used to. I think people will change their habits and the style of life. And I think mediation will be in this kind of platforms, and especially in Rio. You talked about the number of companies that are passing through economic difficulties. And I think the mediation is very important to try to help in the negotiation between creditor and debtor. and try not to go to the courts. As Eric said, there are a lot of suits, so we must try to avoid. And I think it's mediation always the best way to try to solve this kind of problem, especially now in the pandemic. We have a lot of laws that avoid to complicate even more the situation. As I told you, we are trying to improve the bankruptcy law that we have in Brazil to try to make it more effective. So I think mediation goes in this way.
Thanks, Gisela. Very good. I don't know if Lizzie wants to address some comments.
Can I ask a question?
Yes. What? Sorry. You want to know the question, right?
Can you guys hear me? I guess.
Yes.
Okay. So, is there any laws or regulations in Brazil to regulate the technology or the patent assignment from Brazil to the other countries? If because in China there is very strictly laws and regulation to limit this assignment. For example, if we talk about the patent, if the foreign investor wants to buy a invention patent, so every single case must be submitted to the Ministry of Commerce. So I'm very curious, is there any similar or same laws in Brazil?
Well, IP is not my personal area of practice, but what I can say, and if Gisela or Eric or Caroline, if anyone wants to address some comments, what I can say for now, but I can also go further this topic and send you all the answers more appropriate. But we have the Intellectual Property Institute in Brazil that deals with all the registrations of trademarks and patents and also copyrights. So we have only one institute that is a public institute that is responsible for everything, and we also have national law for intellectual property. I don't know regarding foreign companies if this law regulates it. I think I'm not sure, but I can say maybe not. But I need to check how about the entrance of Brazil at the Madrid Protocol, if we already have a law regulating this. I don't know if Gisela knows anything about this issue, but.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry, I didn't understand, Bruno. The end. Did you say that?
If I'm not wrong, Elise asked if Brazil has any kind of law that regulates.
Yes, you're right. We have, No, yes, we have you said you are right. You said that we have a law that the National Institute of Industry Property, it's responsible to register patents and trademarks. As I told you, recently Brazil adopted the Madrid Protocol to facilitate the register of trademarks. So now we can do it. We can choose the countries that we want to register. So we can. It's more. It's simplified, and the costs were increased because we pay once and then we can choose the countries. But I didn't understand in the end what you said, Bruno, that you're not sure about it.
If this law regulates the registration of trademarks and patents for foreign companies here in Brazil, not only Brazilian companies registrating the Madrid Protocol, but just the opposite. Maybe for countries that are not registered at the Madrid Protocol. Since it's not my area of practice, this special answer, I really don't know now, but I also take a look after.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, but I think if they adopt the Madrid Protocol, probably it's the same rule. But the only thing that I say that here in Brazil, the common way to register is in INPI, our National Institute of Industrial Property, who established here in Rio de Janeiro.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah,
okay, so
actually, yeah.
Please.
Yeah, actually, in China, it's not the every intellectual property rights must to send to for a permit from Ministry of Commerce. It's just for the invention patent, because we have three kinds of the patent. So which is invention, utility model, and design. So only invention patent must be submitted to Ministry of Commerce for permit. So if we talk about the trademark, there is no any regulation to limit the foreign company to acquire the trademark. Even in copyright, we just limited the computer code of the copyright. We don't limit the regular copyright. So so this laws and the regulations is focusing on the technology and the patent, not for all of the intellectual property.
That's interesting, and I'd like to propose maybe another webinar only about IP. I don't know if Soraya agrees, but it's a very interesting topic. We can invite a lot of good people to speak about this. So a whole webinar about IP should be very good.
Cool.
Okay, my friends. So I think we are at the end of our event. So because it's too late in China now, and it's Valentine's Day or Valentine's night already. So. Thank you so much, everybody. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much who was watching us as well on YouTube. And thanks, LinkLei, Caroline, again for the support. And I hope to see you again in the next event. And after this crazy pandemic, we can meet each other in China or in Brazil.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you
guys.
So much.
Thank you very much. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice
Bye-bye.
day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye, guys.